Secretary of State, Dame Priti Patel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 2 weeks ago, the IAEA produced a report that was damning on the Iranian regime. Iran was not cooperating, breaching its obligations, and had over 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%, far beyond any level needed for a civilian nuclear program, and enough material to create at least 9 nuclear devices. Their nuclear facilities are buried deep underground to hide their program, and all this from a despotic, authoritarian regime that represses and tortures its own people. It's committed to the annihilation of Israel, the world's only Jewish state, and is responsible for so much of the suffering in the region through its sponsorship of terrorist proxies. It is supporting Putin in its illegal war against Ukraine and is involved in plots and activities that undermine our national security here at home on a daily basis. Mr. Speaker, it is for these reasons and many, many more that the Iranian regime must never be allowed to have nuclear weapons. That is why we stand with those working to stop them. As His Majesty's opposition, the House will know that we will always put the defence and security of our country first. And that's why we will work constructively with the government to secure the protection of British people and our national interests. We will support the government when they're doing the right thing, but also question, challenge and press ministers to go further when we think more needs to be done to safeguard our interests. It is in that spirit of constructive scrutiny, in the national interest, that I put these questions and points to the Foreign Secretary. Firstly, British nationals and dual nationals continue to be stranded in Israel and the Middle East due to airbase closures. Now, I've written to the Foreign Secretary about this matter and note the progress with today's flight, and I do want to thank the Foreign Office for the work they've been doing with many families who I've been in touch with as well, who have been able to get on that flight today. So can the Foreign Secretary tell us how many British nationals may need to be repatriated? What resources are being deployed to support those efforts? Is there enough capacity to match the numbers that is needed to leave? And why does it seem that the US and other European countries were ahead of us in their operational planning to bring back their citizens? The Foreign Secretary has mentioned the US Embassy advice, and now he's given advice to British nationals in Qatar today. Will there be any further notifications for other British nationals in GCC states? Second, on Iran's nuclear program, the Foreign Secretary on radio this morning could not say how effective the weekend strikes were, and I understand that will take time to get information. But if more strikes are planned to further degrade Iran's nuclear capacities, will the government consider supporting these? The government has not taken a clear position on the actions that the US and Israel have taken, but we have seen reports of the apparent legal advice from the Attorney General cautioning against UK involvement. And while I appreciate that the Foreign Secretary cannot comment on any legal advice, does the government have a position on the lawfulness of these strikes? And does he welcome the ends as well as the means to achieve this? Does he share my cynicism about Iran's attempt to cloak itself in the UN Charter? That's the same UN Charter it has undermined with its brutality for decades. And can the Foreign Secretary confirm if the US will be permitted to take action from Diego Garcia should future strikes on Iran be needed or actions to defend Israel? Or does the government think that there are legal barriers to the US in doing so? Third, with heightened tensions in the region, can the Foreign Secretary give an update on what further steps are being undertaken to safeguard British military assets in the region and our partners from any unwise military action taken by the Iranian regime? And I say this considering the reports that we heard about over the weekend with the arrest of a suspected Iranian spy plot targeting our base in Cyprus. Are we now stepping up efforts to protect bases? Fourth, what steps are being taken across government and with our police, counter-terrorism, security services to reassess the domestic threat levels? The Foreign Secretary cannot go into operational details, so can he give assurance on the robust action and disruptions to any potential Iran-backed plots that are underway? He mentioned, and rightly so, the issue of Gaza and the fact that we absolutely must work together in terms of ensuring that humanitarian aid gets to people desperately in need of aid. Can the Foreign Secretary update us on what steps he's been taking to engage with Israel to get more aid into Gaza? And does he agree that Iran must be weakened to end their ability to sponsor Hamas and other terrorists in the region?